Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
Well, Elon Musk is now the richest person on the planet.
More than half the satellites in space are owned and controlled by one man.
Well, he's a legitimate super genius. I mean, legitimate.
He says he's always voted for Democrats, but this year it will be different. He'll vote Republican.
There is a reason the U.S. government is so reliant on him.
Elon Musk is a scam artist, and he's done nothing.
Anything he does is fascinating to people.
Welcome to Elon Inc., Bloomberg's weekly podcast about Elon Musk. It's Tuesday, January 7th. I'm your host, David Papadopoulos. Musk takes on the UK is suddenly front page news across the globe. It's getting more heated and frankly kind of weirder by the day. Anyone up for a coup at 10 Downing? But it's been brewing for months, and it seems to signal that in the wake of Donald Trump's election, an emboldened Elon Musk is ready to use his influence to try to bend politics and policy his way across Europe, including in Italy and Germany. To discuss these developments, we are joined by our regular, Dana Hull. Hey there, Dana.
Hey, hey.
And we have from London, Marc Champion, Bloomberg Opinion columnist. Marc, hello.
Hi there.
And Alex Wickham, a reporter who covers the government and politics. Alex, hello.
Hello.
Okay, and then later on, we're going to get a cameo from co-host Max Chafkin and friend of pod Kurt Wagner to talk about some exciting new developments on X. Is it time, ladies and gentlemen, for some good news? Oh, and Max has some little Musk mystery he contends he single-handedly has solved, so we'll humor him and hear him out. But we start in London with you, Alex. Okay, so for those over on this side of the pond who, like me, have only been half following all this back and forth, bring us up to speed, your challenge here is, and start at the very beginning, if you could, with the decade-old case of mass rape of young British girls.
Yes, the Elon Musk circus has arrived in London. This all stems, really, from Elon Musk's fascination, it appears, with right-wing themes in Britain about Islam, which sprung up over the summer during some basically far-right riots in this country that Musk was very critical of the British government's response, jailing some people responsible for that disorder. That sort of set off a barrage over the last few months of tweets, posts by Musk, where he just laid into Keir Starmer, the new British Prime Minister, attacking him repeatedly, calling for him to be ousted, new elections in Britain, all of this stuff. Quite remarkable comments for somebody so close to the incoming US president. And then that's really picked up over the last few weeks as Elon Musk has discovered this thing that happened in Britain really over the last sort of 20 years, which is a child sex abuse scandal which took place in British towns, dating back 2 decades, which is something that has been widely known about and reported on and investigated in this country, but that Elon Musk just seems to have learned about. And he appears to be blaming Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, for his handling of this and not investigating it, causing an inquiry, etc.
So, Alex, what was Starmer's exact role in this? And let me also ask you this. So before Musk brought it up again in recent days, had the issue entirely gone away in the UK from policy circles?
It certainly wasn't a major theme of British politics, put it that way, until Elon Musk started talking about it. I mean, since Elon Musk has done that, Keir Starmer was previously Britain's chief prosecutor. And that's what Musk is getting at, saying that essentially Starmer didn't prosecute these cases enough. Now, Keir Starmer would say, actually, he was the first person to prosecute these cases and that he was praised by a national inquiry into the handling of child sex abuse. So certainly some of Elon Musk's statements are extremely arguable, should we say. But yeah, that has kind of taken on a life of its own after Musk intervened, and it has seen right-wing parties in Britain, such as Nigel Farage's Reform Party and the Conservative Party led by Kemi Badenoch, kind of jump on what Musk has done in order to try and attack Starmer.
Yeah, and we actually have a clip of Keir Starmer responding to Musk, although I believe without naming him, just yesterday. Let's listen to that.
We've seen this playbook many times, whipping up of intimidation and threats of violence, hoping that the media will amplify it. Now, Jess Phillips does not need me or anybody else to speak on her behalf. But when the poison of the far right leads to serious threats to Jess Phillips and others, then in my book, a line has been crossed. But I enjoy the cut and thrust of politics, the robust debate that we must have. But that's got to be based on facts and truth, not on lies. Not on those who are so desperate for attention that they're prepared to debase themselves and their country.
So, Alex, I have to be honest, I was sort of off for holiday and half paid attention to all of this. And originally my take was, oh, okay, I get it. Elon is now basically going to try to get Farage elected. But then he also turned on Farage and thinks that Farage isn't the person to lead reform. So it's just sort of fascinating to me. He will quibble with the word far right, but he's taking the most extreme far right position that he can in terms of the current possible electoral outcomes. And I guess my question for you is, what is really driving this? Is it just being a chaos agent? Is this sort of part of his anti-immigration rhetoric? Because the sex scandal involved Muslim men, as far as I understand. What exactly is his end game here? Because it seems to change by the day.
Yeah, it does. And it's proving very difficult, even for allies of Donald Trump and Elon Musk in Britain, to work out what the answer to that question is, to be completely honest with you. If you'd asked me a week ago, I would say Elon Musk poses quite a serious problem to Keir Starmer because he's the incoming president's right-hand man. He is daily attacking the British government and appears to be a major risk to US-UK relations. Then, in quite remarkable plot twist over the weekend, Elon Musk turned on Nigel Farage, the sort of right-wing populist leader in Britain, a friend of Donald Trump, somebody who met Elon Musk at Mar-a-Lago just a few weeks ago in December and appeared to be potentially even receiving a major donation from Elon Musk in future. And instead, pretty much out of nowhere, Elon Musk turned on Nigel Farage because Nigel Farage wouldn't join him in endorsing an extremely far-right British figure who is in prison called Tommy Robinson. That's a step too far for Nigel Farage, and Farage said, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Thanks very much, Elon, but no thanks. And Elon's response to that, rather than say, okay, we'll agree to disagree, was to detonate his relationship with Nigel Farage. So now you have this kind of extraordinary situation where even the British populist right is looking at Elon Musk and going, okay, well, we quite liked him boosting us and talking about us all the time and attacking Keir Starmer. But the problem is, if we get too close to him now, clearly that could blow up at any moment. And I think that's a lesson for Nigel Farage in Britain, who is going to be very wary if there is any attempts at a rapprochement in the coming weeks and months with Elon Musk. He'll be very wary of getting as close to him again as he has done previously, and for fear that it might all blow up again and the circus carries on. I think if you're a right-wing leader across Europe now, you're going to be looking at Elon Musk, given his behaviour over the last few days, and be questioning what your strategy should be.
Now, Marc Champion, Mr. Musk certainly has the attention of folks there in London, but is he being successful here in this campaign he is waging?
I think the hard part is knowing what his campaign is, as Alex was just describing. It looked like there was a strong political logic to what he was doing. And now, all of a sudden, that is kind of blown up, and it no longer does. And actually, some of the actual rhetoric that he's used is so bizarre that I think parts of the far right will love it. And, there's a huge fan club for Elon Musk here as elsewhere. And they won't change their minds. But nevertheless, I think, as a sort of broad, intervention, in terms of being politically successful, I don't know. I mean, in that clip, Keir Starmer mentioned Jess Phillips. She's a government official. She's in charge of safeguarding young women. She was then being accused by Musk of being an apologist for rape genocide. Extraordinary language to use about, a minister in another government. And the thing he was accusing her of doing was not ordering an inquiry. And, he doesn't seem to be aware or to care that there was a national inquiry that only finished in 2022. And its 20 recommendations have not yet been put in place. So it's a very bizarre episode. And as Alex said, I would agree. I mean, I think it will make, politicians around Europe think twice, especially if, like Farage, they're, Marine Le Pen in France, they're trying very hard to, shed the really far right, the kind of fascist tinge, and be able to appeal to a bigger audience.
Now, Mark, we're going to come back to the UK. I do, though, want to briefly segue over to mainland Europe while we're on this theme, because to your point, Elon Musk, been embracing and praising the AfD in Germany. Tell us a bit about who exactly they are and how that relationship has been developing.
Yeah, well, the AfD is a very, kind of complex phenomenon. It's doing very well in Germany, as Farage is now doing in the UK. It's the second largest party. There are elections coming up in February. And on the one hand, parts of the party have been identified by the German intelligence authorities as extremist, people that they have to follow because they consider them a threat. Other parts, try hard, like Reform and some of the other parties, Le Pen's party, they are trying very hard to have a more kind of libertarian, more mainstream appeal. And he is going to, on Thursday, actually, do a kind of Twitter space interview with the leader of the AfD, Alice Weidel. And that is causing issues, with the European Commission, which is saying, this is just before an election. And there are rules now in place in Europe for the new digital rules, which are supposed to create some sort of regulation of the kind that you have for TV and other media in the lead up to elections. So he's really sort of doesn't seem to mind, and is just plowing ahead and almost challenging the Europeans to come after him.
Difficult question to answer, but do you have the sense that Elon Musk is acting here, both in Germany and the UK and Italy, for that matter, as an agent of his new very close ally, Donald Trump, in all this? Or is he going rogue?
Yeah, so I'm not going to try and analyze the relationship between Trump and Musk. I frankly don't fully understand it. I can see the benefits to both, that they each see. But these are both very explosive characters, very hard to manage, unmanageable, I would say. And, whether or not there's some kind of coordinated plan here, I don't know. It's fair to say that they share their kind of distaste for the traditional political center, whether it's center right or center left in Europe. So you can see how promoting the AfD, not necessarily because you think they're going to win, but because it will be unsettling for Germany. Trump might quite like that. But as to, what kind of knowledge Trump has of exactly what Musk is doing, to do with Farage or Tommy Robinson, in the kind of, whether he really knows anything about the grooming scandal in the UK, I have no idea.
I think as well, I mean, if you talk to people, whether they're in the Labour government, the Conservative opposition, or in Farage's Reform Party over the last few days, the thing that they keep saying is that they really seriously doubt whether the relationship between Trump and Musk can carry on in its current form. either will Musk sort of chill out a bit after the inauguration and stop sort of...
Hey, Alex, let me tell you from over here from what I say, Elon Musk will never chill out, dude. So you tell all your sources there and policymakers sources they shouldn't count on that.
I'll take that back to optimistic members of the Labour government. But then the flip side of that is that does Donald Trump at some point say, okay, this is actually not helping me? Because even some people now in Britain who like Donald Trump and support Donald Trump and previously liked Elon Musk and supported some of the things Elon Musk was saying are now sort of trying to get the message out there to Trump world that this has gone a bit far and someone needs to have a word. Now, good luck with that. But I think that is sort of an interesting dynamic that will be interesting to see how it plays out.
Speaking of those in that camp, Nigel Farage responded to Musk the other day. Let's listen to that.
Oh, having him as a supporter is very helpful to our cause. I mean, goodness me. I mean, he's an absolute hero figure, particularly to young people in this country. So, yes, he's very helpful indeed. Now, look, everyone says, well, what about his comments on Tommy Robinson? Look, my position is perfectly clear on that. I never wanted Tommy Robinson to join UKIP. I don't want him to join Reform UK, and he won't be. Okay, now, Alex, tell us a little bit about this gentleman, Tommy Robinson, and who he is and what exactly his relationship is with Farage and Musk and the others.
So Tommy Robinson is a really fringe figure in far-right British politics. His name isn't even Tommy Robinson. His real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon. He goes by the name Tommy Robinson. He is a man who has a string of criminal convictions. He's currently in prison for contempt of court here for defying a court order not to repeat untrue statements about a Syrian refugee. He has been in prison previously for various offences, from mortgage fraud to sort of more violent acts. And indeed, he previously was in trouble for nearly ruining a trial for some men who were on trial over the grooming scandal by breaching the contempt of court rules as well. He is a person who is way to the right, even of Nigel Farage, somebody who Nigel Farage has long distanced himself from. Nigel Farage has refused to have Tommy Robinson as a sort of political ally, and has always said that, you know, that's a line he won't cross, seeing Robinson as beyond the pale. This appears to have passed Elon Musk by, because Elon Musk started posting a couple of weeks ago about how Tommy Robinson was a political prisoner who shouldn't be in prison, and he was just speaking the truth, and was a victim of a sort of establishment stitch up to prevent him from saying it how it is. I would say that is a very sort of incorrect analysis of what Tommy Robinson is and has done. And Nigel Farage has said that he's on a sort of campaign to educate the American right about who Tommy Robinson is, and sort of say to allies of Donald Trump, whoa, Tommy Robinson's not your man. He is way, way, way too extreme, and that's not the road you want to go down, believe me. And it will remain to be seen, but I doubt that Musk will have much relevance in Britain if he continues to think that Tommy Robinson's the answer.
Dana.
So this isn't quite related to the UK and Germany, but I just saw that Musk tweeted something about Greenland, and he says, if the people of Greenland want to be part of America, which I hope they do, they would be most welcome. So beyond, Musk sort of roiling the UK and Germany, he does seem to be sort of on par with Trump in these expansionist plans and this idea that somehow the United States is going to acquire Greenland. So I was just wondering, from America, it's hard to know, what is hotter? Is it what's happening in the UK? Is it Germany? Or is it basically all of Europe now kind of reckoning with Musk and his influence with Trump?
Yeah, I would say it's wherever he spoke last. He's pretty comprehensive and seems to never sleep. So it's been particularly, roiling in the UK in recent days. Before that, it was the AfD in Germany. That really upset the Chancellor over there, Olaf Scholz, who sees the AfD as an unacceptable right-wing threat in a country that knows a little bit about right-wing threats. So I think it moves from place to place. And the Danish, I saw that the Danish monarch just changed the the insignia for the monarchy in order to, big up Greenland and the Faroes, just after, Donald Trump had, said that he was still interested in buying Greenland. So, he's never a dull moment.
Mark, Musk obviously attached his wagon to the right horse here in the U.S. in 2024. He both read the electorate the right way and sort of helped nudge the electorate in the direction he wanted them to go. Do you sense that he is also making the right read here in the UK?
Well, I thought that he was being pretty astute when he was, supporting Farage, because Reform is kind of the coming party in the UK. But, everything that's happened since has made me think that he simply doesn't have a clue. Whereas he understands the US very well, he doesn't understand the UK. I mean, if he would not be, pinning himself to Tommy Robinson if he did. My opinion's changed, to be honest, in the course of a few days. Now it's just chaos before it seemed to, be malice aforethought.
Mark, Alex, thank you so much for joining. If the Americans do indeed invade Britain, we'll have you guys on to talk at that point. Or if nothing else, Mark, we'll at least sit down at some point here and talk through the terms of the purchase of Greenland.
Really great to have you guys on.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. So we are now joined by friend of pod and social media reporter for us here at Bloomberg, Kurt Wagner. Hello, Kurt. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Hi, David. Happy New Year to you.
And Max, I believe you're beaming in from Washington, D.C., a snow-blanketed Washington, D.C. Max, hello there.
Hey, David.
Okay. So, Kurt, it is my understanding that in the year of our Lord 2025, X is going to be a shinier, brighter, happier place. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, you are correct. You've probably already noticed how, dramatically different X feels. I'm being sarcastic.
I haven't, Kurt. But I believe you. It feels dramatically different. How?
I'm still working on my sarcasm in 2025. But yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Elon Musk did post a couple of days ago at the end of last week that a tweak is coming to X's algorithm. He says that he wants to promote, quote, informational and entertaining content, and the goal is to maximize unregretted user seconds. There's too much negativity being pushed. That's, getting people to spend time there, but it's not necessarily leading to unregretted user time. So, in other words, hey, can we make this place feel nicer, more welcoming, more friendly? I find there's two things that jump out immediately about this to me as someone who's covered these social networks for a long time. The first is that this is not like a crazy idea, right? Like Meta, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg said this several years ago, like, hey, we want to make sure that people spend time here and they don't walk away feeling like, man, I really wish I hadn't just scrolled on the feed, because it's a bad experience and they don't come back. So that's not that crazy. Mm-hmm. The crazy part, as we all know on this pod, is that the guy saying this is also the guy who is constantly bringing negativity and attacks and misinformation and things to the platform, right?
The king of such posts.
Yeah. So it's like he's sitting here, telling everyone to be nice and friendly while he's out sort of attacking everybody who sort of disagrees with him, right? So I feel like there's a great irony there that did not go unnoticed by the X faithful. And, we've heard Elon talk about wanting to change sort of the makeup of the feed on X on several occasions now since he took over. You might be able to tell I'm a little skeptical that this is actually going to do anything with X, but it is interesting he's talking about it.
Now, Max, if you were to strip out listeners who walk away, feeling like they just had some unregretted or gave up some unregretted user seconds, man, we wouldn't have any listeners at all. Okay.
No, a hate listen, David, is still a listen, as you and I both know.
But if it's wait a minute, is a hate listen regretted though or not? Do you regret it?
Not necessarily.
But so what is the Max Chafkin read on all this?
I mean, I agree with Kurt. I think Elon Musk, after spending the last year and a half, focusing largely on politics, and maybe that's putting it generously. At times trolling, at times playing the role of maybe more of a political influencer, and then at other times playing the role kind of an actual political operative. That has worked really well, as we've talked on this podcast. He played a big role in getting President-elect Trump back in office, back in the White House, and now he has used that to his advantage. It's worked out really well for Elon Inc., not the podcast, but the conglomerate that is all of Elon's companies. On the other hand, the impact on Twitter has been kind of questionable, right? We've debated it a lot, and like in certain ways, Twitter has gotten much more influential, but the advertising business, like that, which back, way back when Elon was talking to Chris Anderson at the TED conference after he bought the company, was the main business, and that has not done well. So I think he's like Kurt's saying, he's trying to dial it back now that he's achieved basically his political goal. Interestingly, we're seeing Mark Zuckerberg go in the other direction. He's going to make Facebook more like X. So there's this kind of weird confluence, and I think on Zuckerberg, it's the opposite situation, right? He's sort of, the politics sort of got away from him a little bit, and he's trying to now get on Trump's good side by, of course, making sure there's lots of conservative influencers and so on are feel safe and happy on Facebook, and the business impact of him maybe doesn't matter as much.
Yeah. So, indeed, Kurt, it appears, looking at this news on this front in the last few days, that Elon was a groundbreaker of sorts on this front. This is the way the world is going.
I think he has definitely made it more acceptable, right, to come out and say things that a few years ago I think people would have kind of skewered Mark Zuckerberg for, right? Like Elon is the human bulldozer that has broken down a lot of the expectations that people have for the CEOs of big social media companies. And I do think Mark Zuckerberg can benefit from that, right? Like he can come in and do some of the stuff that Elon does, maybe at a slightly less dramatic or extreme version. And, Elon takes a lot of the heat for it because he does it first and he does it bigger and more aggressive. So I think we're seeing Zuck kind of take advantage of that on several fronts, right? I mean, obviously, like the idea of getting rid of fact checkers is one. Appointing a very long-standing Republican operative as the head of global policy, which they did last week, showing up at Mar-a-Lago to have dinner with Donald Trump. Like, these are all things that I think are made easier for Mark Zuckerberg's life because Elon did them first or does them first. And so, for that, I think Mark has Elon to thank, probably.
There are a couple other things Kurt hasn't even mentioned. So Zuckerberg, Elon, of course, gave a lot of money to Trump's campaign. Zuckerberg announced he was giving $1 million to the inauguration, and he even appointed Dana White, who is the CEO, I believe, of UFC. We talk a lot about cage fighting. Dana White is going to be on the board of Meta, which I was really excited about because I thought, okay, this is going to be great news for the Elon.
Simply to prep Zuckerberg for the fight.
That's what I'm saying. I thought this was going to be golden for the Elon Zuckerberg cage fight, but I'm worried that the sort of anger, the actual desire to fight may be gone. Like the feud between Elon and Zuckerberg may end shortly. They may not want to fight. They may be more of a tag team situation.
Now that we're laundry listing all the things, I do think there's another important one that actually just came out this morning, which is that Mark Zuckerberg said, hey, we're going to move trust and safety out of California to Texas, and content moderation, especially in the U.S., is moving to Texas because he wants to, eliminate this perception of bias that employees in California are too biased, apparently, to, properly moderate content on Facebook. And so that feels to me like a very, very Elon move, obviously, right? And Mark Zuckerberg said instead of doing fact checkers, they're going to adopt the community notes system and product that is happening over on X, right? And he even name dropped X. Usually when Meta copies another product, they're like, hey, we're doing stories, that thing you're all familiar with from somewhere else, and they don't ever, give credit to the person they're stealing from. In this case, he actually even acknowledged that this is a product over on X. And so it does feel like to Max's point, maybe Mark and Elon are becoming too friendly for this cage fight to actually happen. That's maybe the biggest downside of this whole thing, is that we're not going to eventually get to see them throw down.
Dana, do you see Elon following his own script here and posting overwhelmingly positive, happy, inspirational things on X?
No, he used to post like wonderful pictures of like the solar system, right? And exoplanets and like space. Like that was aspirational, but his own content is just so dark. And so it's with great irony that he's like post positive things where everything that he's doing with the UK and Germany has just been terrible. And he rarely posts anything about Tesla, which is the key to his wealth. And so I don't know where this positive content is supposed to come unless it's like AI-generated anime cartoons or something.
Elon is very influential, but it's not clear to me that that's going to have an impact.
Kurt Wagner, we say goodbye to you, sir, but let me actually, hold on. Before we do, let me ask you this. Remember, one of my key 2025 predictions is Kurt Wagner purchase a Cybertruck. How are we looking on that, buddy?
I heard about this and have decided to file a formal HR complaint against you, David, for this attack on my personality. No, I'm not planning a Cybertruck this year, but you can bet that when I do get my Cybertruck, whenever that may be, you're going to be the first person that I come pick up, and so we can go for a ride together. Man. I just want you to know that.
Excellent. All right, Kurt. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys.
It's not hard.
But why do you want to know it's so bad? It's
because it's weird that you can't name 3 girls.
Oh, I can definitely name them. I'm just not going to. Because it's funny. The way it makes you feel.
The way it makes you feel is funny. That you can't name 3 girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just funny entirely. I think this is funny.
I get it.
It's like, you just name him, just name him, just name him.
I get it. I'll name 3. Grimes, Vivian, Ghislaine.
Huh?
Max, help me out here. What the hell's going on?
Well, I don't know specifically what's going on, but I do believe that the voice we're hearing, the Elon-like voice, the voice that if you just squint your ears a little bit, sounds a little bit like Elon, is a character named Adrian Dittman, who, if you are big on X, if you, follow Elon Musk or follow people who are associates, he's one of the big cheerleaders, one of these kind of influencers like Cat Turd or Sawyer Merritt or a bunch of other characters who you'll be familiar with if you follow Elon Musk. But the difference here is that some people on the internet think that, or at least thought until very recently, that Adrian Dittman was Elon Musk, which was a very amusing conspiracy theory that caused a lot of people to spend a lot of time trying to determine if it was true.
There are entire Reddit threads devoted to this entire topic. I mean, I personally am willing to believe that Adrian Dittman could be Elon Musk, in part because the anagram of Adrian Dittman, there are several, but one of them is Martian Bandit. I mean, that to me sounds like it could, it leads credence to the theory.
Having just listened to that audio for the first time ever, I mean, how is that second voice not Elon?
Well, yeah, that is, I guess, the main piece of evidence in favor of it being Elon Musk. And it both passes, the ear test, the sense that you hear it sounds like Elon.
Yes.
And there have also been a handful of experts who have purported to do analysis of the voice, showing that it is very close to Elon Musk, showing that your ears do not deceive you. It sounds a whole lot like Elon Musk. And then the other sort of key point of evidence here, and I use that term loosely, is that Adrian Dittman sure says a lot of nice things about Elon Musk. I mean,
such
nonstop. It's like he basically seems to be only interested in, talking about Elon Musk's company, talking about what a great guy Elon Musk is, talking about, and so on. So I think this is at least partly a phenomenon of fandom, that Elon Musk has these super fans, that you have these Elon Musk-like characters, as well as it's about the fact that Elon Musk does use these he uses alts, social media accounts that are not his, but that he uses to play video games or whatever. So those two things going on. Now, I have to say that over the last couple of days, there's been a blog post as well as a news article that suggest I don't know, pretty convincingly that Adrian Dittman is not, in fact, Elon Musk, and that he's a dude who is German and who lives in Fiji and maybe just has watched so many Elon Musk speeches that he has started to talk like him or something like that.
That he can totally imitate the voice perfectly. Huh.
It may not even be an imitation, right? Maybe they just sound alike, and that's kind of the key to his
What are the odds?
being a successful influencer.
I guess that's possible. Okay. So actually, it turns out, I guess I was a little mistaken. We have not fully resolved this matter. To be continued.
Well, let me ask, Dana, do you find the report in The Spectator, as well as the blog post that inspired it, to be conclusive? Does it close the case for you?
No, not at all. No, not at all. Just no. It's that's the thing. It's I get sort of upset about, no one knows, right? There are lots of theories, but no, I don't find The Spectator story to be completely definitive. But then weirdly, the reporter from The Spectator, she's been restricted for 30 days. Yeah. And so that's weird. But I still think we don't know. I mean, and you have running Adrian Dittman's voice through all these simulations. And I just think it's an internet rabbit hole that is endlessly fascinating. To me, I guess what I keep thinking about is the fact that Vivian, Elon's child, has said that she thinks that Adrian Dittman is Elon. And so I give that credence, because who would know better than his own kid? But
I will just say this is you find Adrian Dittman, you find Satoshi Nakamoto. And you, one fell swoop, you solve all these mysteries, Chafkin. Just solve them all at once.
I mean, obviously, it would be hugely entertaining if it turned out that Adrian Dittman was Elon Musk, just because, who has the time, really? He's already, spending so much time tweeting. Imagine he's got a whole other account that he's controlling. I mean, that would be amazing, just beyond all the other stuff.
Yeah, we're going to keep reporting this out in weeks and months and years, frankly, years to come. But I do not disagree. Having seen a little bit.
Squad.
Yes, an investigative squad. We'll create an entire team in the Bloomberg newsroom to investigate this. Max, Dana, I will see you soon.
Thanks, David.
Sounds good.
This episode was produced by Stacey Wong. Anna Masarakis is our editor, and Rayhan Harmansi, our senior editor. The idea for this very show also came from Rayhan. Blake Maples handles engineering and Emma Sanchez fact-checks. Our supervising producer is Magnus Henriksen. The Elon Inc. theme is written and performed by Taka Yasuzawa and Alex Sugiura. Brendan Francis Newnham is our executive producer, and Sage Bauman is the head of Bloomberg Podcasts. A big thanks, as always, to our supporters Joel Weber and Brad Stone. I'm David Papadopoulos. If you have a minute, rate and review our show. It'll help other listeners find us. See you next week.